My name is Trinity, and I'm the psychoanalytic astrologer and your life coach. So let's get your life together.
I open my eye simulation. Evolve. I feel alive. Sensations increasing. My system cannot cope. Sensory overload.
So, how do you get over the fear of making the wrong choices when it comes to getting anything spiritually done with divination and stuff, right? Let's talk about in the aspect of a tarot reading, for example, and a birth chart. Now, to start with the tarot readings, you have to understand that tarot readings are not linear, and the outcome changes depending on what you are doing in that moment right now. I know there are a lot of spiritualists and readers out there that they will say that this is the end all be all. Like a good 85 to 90% say this is the outcome that's about to come. Like this is 100% about to happen. In my case, I don't like to say that this is 100% of the outcome, because when you're talking about like parallel universes and alternate dimensions and all this stuff, if you take all that type of stuff into consideration, honestly, the outcome can change in that moment as soon as you get the reading. And that's what people kind of fail to let the client know, especially if you're doing readings. And especially if you're the one receiving the readings. Personally, I would tend to avoid getting a reading done from somebody that says that this will be 100% the outcome. Because, like I said, tarot is a timeline. Think of it as like a parallel universe or alternate dimensions. If you get a reading that specifies, let's say, a negative outcome, that negative outcome is completely based on how you proceed forward after that reading or that divination. Now, let's say you get a positive outcome and you're supposed to be receiving something like a blessing or something. Yes, that blessing is deserved to you, but that is again based on what you're continuing to do from that reading on. Like, even if you get cocky and you're like, oh, well, I'm about to receive it anyway, it doesn't matter what I do. If you kind of fall off the wagon, you stop working hard just because you think you deserve something because the reader said so, you can even change the outcome of that because you get lazy, you get arrogant, you think something is just deserved to you. You think that your hard work no longer applies because you think that it's just naturally coming to you when that's not the case. Now, let's be honest, how do you get over the fear of making the wrong choices? Well, there really is no wrong choice unless you're out here trying to, get rid of somebody permanently or whatever the case may be, Because, let's be honest, even if you didn't get a reading or you didn't get some type of divination method, honestly, you would still be in the same boat. You have no idea really what the consequences or the outcome is going to be unless you go down a certain path. And if you're just on a path of destruction in general, we already know what the outcome will be for that. Duh, just destruction. Like, come on. If you continue doing certain things, positive things, cutting things off that no longer serve you, etc., then there are no wrong choices, so to speak. There's just a delay or a moving around of certain things. And the same goes with astrology. Just because you have a certain aspect or just because you have a certain placement does not mean that you're going to end up in that certain predicament or whatever, right? Just me, for example, I have a sun in the 10th house. I'm supposed to be famous, right? However, if I never went down the path of becoming a content creator and posting myself on social media and posting my readings, I would not be getting recognized. Like, I got 11.9 followers on Instagram, but I never would have had that if I never jumped completely into my content creation 100%. And that did require some sort of sacrifice, meaning I did leave my job in the emergency room to pursue this. Like, that's just what it was. And keep in mind, I had multiple readings about leaving my job for myself. I had a few other readers I went to. Like, all of them said the same thing. So once they all said the same thing, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take this chance. You know, I don't have anything to lose. I work in the medical field. I can work at any point at any time. Like, let's just be for real. Like, what do I have to lose? And that it did involve me getting over the fear of, you know, having the money to carry myself and my family, because I have children. Now, even without the divination method, so to speak, if I did want to grow my business and grow my content, my job was taking completely away from me fully deep diving into my content creation. So either way it went, I had to put in the hard work, especially on Instagram, which is my preferred platform. Like, I had to put in the hard work. Like, for example, even right now, my YouTube, which I'm posting to you guys right now, my YouTube page, the reason why it's not growing is because I'm not really putting any effort towards creating long form videos, which I want to, but I have to make sure, like, I have to put my 100% in it. That's the only reason I was able to go viral on Instagram. It wasn't necessarily any divination method or candles. Like, I had to do my part too. And as that divination did prove, yes, as long as I applied myself, I was going to get the success I deserve, and even then some, but I had to keep putting in the work. So it's kind of like, you don't necessarily make the wrong choices, but you do get things that you should adhere to if you want to kind of continue to get a certain result. If you find that you're not getting the results you desire, or you keep getting different, you know, results and stuff like that, look at yourself. Go take a introspective look at what you're doing and how you're going about achieving a certain goal, or how you're going about kind of getting a certain outcome. Because if there's confusion, or if there's like a certain outcome that you don't want, or a certain outcome that you do want, you do have to tailor your life around that. And that does involve kind of like letting go of the fact that tarot and astrology are a end all linear be all. You know, it's not, these methods are not linear. You still have some semblance of free will that influences the results that you want or don't want. Now, how do you go about kind of getting over the fear of like making the wrong choice? Getting over the fear of making the wrong choice will always be there. It'll always be like the little voice in the back of your mind, like, oh, what if I mess up? What if I screw this up? Like, I know this is guaranteed to me, but what if I'm making the wrong choice right now? Am I going to mess this up? Okay, well, this negative outcome is coming towards me. How can I change this? Like, what can I do? And it's like, how do you get over that? Acknowledge it, but keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. You know, adhere to the advice of the reader, adhere to the advice of the astrologer, and just kind of use that as your vision board, especially if you want a positive outcome, because you can always change a negative outcome. You can always change a positive outcome. Again, this stuff is not linear. It depends on you. So there is no wrong choice, technically. It's not, because you're the one in control of the result. Now, I will say that there are some finite points of your life that could be unavoidable, as like there are spiritual influences, there could be like hexing or cursing being done, there could be a generational trauma that you cannot shake because you refuse to kind of go through the process of actually getting therapy, you know, processing that very specific trauma, kind of acknowledging it. So it's just kind of like, there are some aspects that are kind of unavoidable. So that does depend on family history and all the other stuff, right? You pretty much got a free-for-all on what you want to do. Everybody processes fear different. And my advice to you guys is to simply, when you receive that reading or when you see that divination, when you get that chart read, use that as a map to be more mindful. Tarot is not linear. It's more like branches of a tree. Versus astrology, it's also not linear, but it does give you insight to kind of like what influenced you or what's currently influencing you. there's many different ways I can take this, but the only way to really get over that fear is to just use these methods of spirituality as a key to be more mindful as you proceed forward once you get that done. That is the only way you can really kind of get over that fear of making the wrong choice. Because there is no wrong choice, like I said. But you have to be able to kind of be mindful of what you received. So I hope this helps. I hope this kind of gave a little clarity on, fears, like how to address it, kind of how tarot and astrology are. So I hope this helps. Comment down below if you need like anything else. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.
I open my eye. Simulation evolved. I feel alive. Sensations increasing. My system cannot cope. Sensory overload.